cleaning up the St. Bernard.
Oh, wow. That's a big job. A couple other people registered, so they might just sneak in. So just be aware that people may join us as we go along. So welcome. Welcome, everybody. So for some of you, Kundalini might be a pretty new practice, and for others, you've been bitten by the Kundalini bug, and it's now an ongoing practice for you. This workshop in particular is really about the foundation, of course, and building that foundation a little bit at a time, so that there isn't, or maybe so that we can undo some of the myths or stories surrounding Kundalini yoga. Hi, Daniel. Welcome. Like that Kundalini yoga is really hard, or that Kundalini yoga is really scary, or that Kundalini yoga is just weird, or whatever, misconceptions or stories have been out there. I love to invite people in to do workshops because it's kind of a no expectation zone of just being able to explore and do something different. And I love thinking about when the last time was that I did something for the first time. And although it's not the first time I've done Kundalini yoga, aren't you all glad for that? There are, so many different postures and kriyas and mudras and mantras, and it's just so endless and deep and vast that there's always something new to learn and explore, and always something new to, expose my practice to and my body to, and then eventually like my family too and my husband too. So that's what this is all about. It's just having a really open mind and being able to be with whatever is coming up for you in the moment, in the practice, noticing where your mind has like, oh, this is kind of good, I kind of like this, and then where the mind decides that it doesn't like it, it doesn't want to do it anymore. That's a fun game to play in any yoga class, I think. So that was the bigger intention of this workshop. We're doing all summer long a Kundalini just reset series. So we started in June with 4 classes, and then the July sort of theme is a little bit more even leaning towards Ayurveda and Kundalini coming together. So thinking about your body type and your dosha and what you eat. And are you, more of a fiery person or an airy person or an earthy person? And we're going to get into all of that in the next few weeks coming up. So we're in a deep dive here at Yoga Farm with Kundalini right now, and it's feeling very auspicious, and it's just all kind of moving. You're going to hear playing a few songs on the playlist tonight. A man named Guru Nam Singh. He is a pretty amazing musician and Kundalini teacher, and he'll be here to lead a workshop and to perform a concert in August. So, it's funny when we say in class, where the gaze goes, the prana flows. That is so true. Where our gaze is fixed on movement and energy and shifts and change, there seems to be this current of energy flowing in that direction. So even more Kundalini, even Guru Nam Singh coming to town. So that's exciting. And the other thing, just kind of like a little asterisk on the side for this particular workshop, is that tomorrow is a solar eclipse. We won't see it in this hemisphere, but it's still happening. We still can experience the energy and everything that kind of culminates around an event like that, and how incredibly majestic and interesting and fascinating things like eclipses are of the moon or of the sun. And so I invite you to just take a moment and think about where you were when that big solar eclipse happened in the northern hemisphere. In some parts of the States, people could see it. Some people travel to the parts of the States where they can see it. So maybe you remember hearing about that. So just close your eyes for a moment and see if you can remember what was happening in your life around the time of that eclipse. into your awareness the energy that you had at that time, the time of year that it was, anything you had happening in your personal life or your work life. And know that as you think about that space and that time and everything that was happening, you can then time travel back to the current moment. And maybe even think about where the shifts have happened in your life, where you have come full circle, where you have done all of this transforming, all of this movement around the sun itself. I always find it to be so interesting how we get wrapped up and steeped in whatever is going on in our lives at this time. And I really try to be present to, am I going to remember this 5 years from now? Is it going to be this big a deal 1 year from now? Or will it be just another passing emotion and wave and thought? So I invite you to explore that a little bit. You can take a deep breath and open your eyes back up again. So just for funsies. For some people they're like, planets, astrology, all that stuff. Not your cup of tea. Totally fine. I completely get that. And I remember a time when it wasn't my cup of tea either. So you can always be open to learning new things. So who has never done Kundalini ever before? Okay, great. We begin each class by tuning in all together. And tuning in is a chant. So we'll be saying the words Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om. So it's not Om, it's Om, like G at the end. O-N-G. Namo Guru Dev Namo. So I'm going to have you repeat after me. Okay? Om Namo. Om Namo. Guru Dev Namo. Dev Namo. Om Namo. Om Namo. Guru Dev Namo. Guru Dev Namo. Beautiful. And I'll chant the cadence so that you can get an idea of what it sounds like. And then we'll chant it all together 3 times. And nobody is really going to be able to hear you because I'm extraordinarily loud. Okay? So don't be self-conscious. Nobody can hear you. And we're not worried about, who's on key, who's off key. Let any of that ego talk go. So just pausing for a moment, because really Om Namo Gurudev Namo is honoring the divinity, the teacher that is within you. And my personal practice and belief system, and you can have a completely different one that's always open in any of my classes, is that the wisdom, the intuition, the light, the connection is already inside me. It isn't someplace else. It isn't in someone else. And I don't necessarily seek someone else giving that to me. I seek to remove the different dusty layers between myself and that ability to see through my intuition and to feel through that wisdom seat. And to be really comfortable in the seat of the witness and being with what is as it is in any moment. So when I hear the word guru, for a long time I would hear the word guru and I would go, oh, guru, I don't know. And it's really beautiful to actually think about the translation of guru being the darkness and the light, the balance between the two, the inner wisdom guru. And knowing that we have to experience the shift between both of those things in order to fully experience either one of them. Give you a little time to think about that one. But Om Namo Gurudev Namo. After we tune in together, I will offer a very short chant of protection. And you can just sit and listen to that. You're not expected to know it or chant it. Some of us have been chanting it quite a bit every week for the past 6 or 7 months here. And there's a lot of words to keep up with. But I do like to just offer that connection of tuning in and then protection for all of you, for all of us, for all sentient beings. So when we tune in, palms come together at heart center. So I'm going to chant it once out loud so you can get the cadence, and then we'll all chant it 3 times together. It's a deep inhale and exhale for Om Namo, and then you take a breath in the middle and continue with Gurudev Namo. Okay. Om. Itself, in case you haven't taken any yoga class with me before. When I teach yoga, the number one reminder I want to give all of my students is that this is your practice. And that isn't different just because we're doing a Kundalini practice. So you have full permission to do what feels good to you, and you have full permission to ignore me at any time and do something else or nothing at all. So a lot of times there is a mindset or this belief of like pushing through things, and I do think that there is time and places for that. If you're feeling that urge to rise and really push through, your body will give you that wisdom and intuition. Never feel like there is a have to in any yoga practice that you do. Really tune into what is resonating with you, what isn't. Where there is resistance, can you see if it is your ego telling you that you can't do something? Or is there really something going on as far as like pain or discomfort? Culturally, we like to say things like no pain, no gain. And I like to say no pain, no pain. So we're going to stick with that, particularly for our first any practice. Okay, so no pain, no pain. Do what is resonating and back off whenever you need to. The other thing that I'm going to say is that the breath practices are far more important for this particular workshop than what is going on physically with your body. Okay, so holding a posture, holding your arms in a position, your hands in a position. If you need to release that, and see if you can stay with the breath. Because the breath is really where we're moving the prana through the body. We're shifting the energy from the lower chakras up into the higher chakras, making those changes happen internally. Through the breath, we're also recalibrating our nervous system. We're actually helping our nervous system find a place of more parasympathetic and calm than typical baseline. So the breath practice is far more important than what is going on in your physical asana. If you have never done Breath of Fire before, we're going to begin tonight with just a very short tutorial of Breath of Fire, so that when we get into those postures, it comes a little bit quicker and easier. All right? So I like to start by teaching Breath of Fire like you're panting like a dog. So right out of the gate, we're going to be ridiculous in yoga class. I'm going to stick your tongue all the way out. All up. And you can all be very glad that none of you are on camera right now. Sticking your tongue out all the way, okay? And then panting like a dog from your navel point. So let's put hands on the belly, okay? Okay, close your mouth. And notice, we're going to do it again. Notice if you're moving your shoulders more or your belly more. We want to use the belly button to pump the breath out. So it's inhale, exhale, okay? If you notice that your shoulders are, try to bring your shoulders to stillness and just focus on the navel pump, okay? So try that again, hands on belly, tongue stick out. It's very hot, hot dogs panting. Great, okay. Go back to breathing normal. Now the thing about this breathing is it is totally counterintuitive. This is not a normal way that most of us breathe. Diaphragmatic breathing isn't typically the way that we move about our day, engaging with our breath, unless you've had lots of yoga training, or perhaps you're a swimmer, or were a swimmer back in the day, or singers. Singers are another group of people that typically have been trained in diaphragmatic breathing. And then of course, if you've been trained in classical dance or ballet, you've been trained in the opposite of diaphragmatic breathing. So I know that it's awkward, and we're not about perfection here. You know, one of my favorite teachers says that we're not here to be preachers of perfection. And I like to remind students all the time that we're actually cultivators of consistency. So if we're cultivating consistency, the perfection doesn't even need to be worried about. You know, that will come with consistency. So hand on belly, this time close your mouth. So it'll be in and out through your nose, that same belly pump. Great. Now, boogers happen in Kundalini yoga. Lar is going to stand up and grab a bunch of tissues, because she's right there, and she's going to pass the tissue boxes around the room, because prolific mucus is a side effect of yoga. It's just cleaning you out. It's great. So don't worry about your boogers. You can wipe it on your shirt and on your tissues. It'll be fine. Maybe that's why we have these lovely rugs, right, for our boogers. So the diaphragmatic breathing, the nostril breathing, all of that is very important. You might already notice a little bit of a lift in your body just from doing it for a few moments. The other important part that we're going to incorporate are contracting and holding our bandhas. Okay, your bandhas are energy locks in your body. Okay, we're going to focus mostly on our mula bandha. It's your root lock. It's like doing a Kegel exercise. It's lifting up through the perineum. So you'll hear me say that a lot. Root lock, engage, perineum up and in. That's mula bandha. When you draw your belly button into your spine and hold it up and in with all of those beautiful strong core muscles that we'll be working out, sneaky yogi sit-ups, that, right, is your Uddiyana Bandha. Those are the two locks that we're going to mostly work with in this practice tonight. So you're going to be locking your root lock, locking your belly button lock, your navel lock, diaphragm lock, and thinking about how much more powerful we would be if we cultivated that consistency and strength in the pelvic floor and in the navel point, right? You have 72,000 pranic channels that begin 2 inches below your belly button. When we draw up and in on that Uddiyana Bandha, we're engaging. We're getting those 72,000 pranic channels online, okay? And you can pay attention to the Eastern anatomy, or you can just let it flow in one ear and not the other, if you're not interested. But those are the other things that you're going to hear me say. Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, and I might just say root lock, belly button lock, up and in. Okay? Another thing that we might do is flip the tongue and press it to the roof of the mouth. And typically we do this at the end of a practice and when we're holding our breath. You'll flip the tongue, so I'll say lower tongue, upper palate, and that's what I mean. Flip and close. You have a bunch of meridians in the top of your mouth. So that's what's happening there. All right. And then the third thing, and then we're going to get started, I promise, is your third eye gaze. So go ahead and put your pointer finger on the center in between your eyebrows to where your third eye point is, right here. And then close your eyes and imagine that you're drawing your eyes up to look at that pointer finger, even though your eyes are closed. Third eye gaze. And you're going to start training yourself to have that third eye gaze, whether your finger is there or not. Okay, so you can bring your hand down. The more that we cultivate that third eye gaze, the more easily our eyes will just go in that position. And when we engage our third eye point, our ocular nerve, everything that's going on behind that, we're stimulating and activating the pituitary and the pineal glands. So this practice has a lot of really beautiful esoteric and energetic aspects, and we can get super, super Western anatomy and talk about your nervous system, your circulatory system, and your endocrine system, your hormone balance. So we can go either way with it, and if you are feeling really energized at the end of practice, like, ooh, something happened, I wonder what that is, you'll get to make that choice, right? I'm going to go in, and I'm going to search all these things about chakras and Mula Bandha, and I don't know what all these words are, or I'm going to go Kundalini Yoga, endocrine system, Google search, and just be able to explore that stuff for yourself. Okay. So I want you to come into tabletop pose, hands and knees. I'm going to try to do much more demonstrating tonight since there's cameras pointing, and I want to be mindful that sometimes meaning doesn't transfer for everyone, so it's good to have a visual. So cat-cows is an inhale as your chest comes forward, belly dips down. Exhale as you round your spine and tuck your chin to your chest. You'll close the eyes and have a rapid and yet complete inhale and exhale. So it'll sound a little bit like this. So continue your cat-cows. Good. In through the nose, out through the nose. I'm going to turn on some music to guide us along here. Your inner mantra, yogis, is Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. We inhale on the Sat, exhale on the Nam. Inhale up, exhale to round. Good. Yep. So every time you breathe in, your chest comes forward, your belly dips down toward the floor. Every time you breathe out, you round and bring your belly button into your spine. We inhale forward. Exhale. And remember that the breath is the most important part. Good. Third eye gaze. That internal point. Eyes are closed. You're using the pump of the belly button to start to move that energy. In, out. It's a little bit rapid. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Use your whole spine. Warming up the spinal channels. Good. You're almost there, yogis. You're doing such a great job. More seconds. Lock that root lock. Use the power of your navel to move that spine back and forth. Inhale into your cow pose. So you're opening the chest forward. Hold the breath. Lock the bandhas. You're squeezing that root lock and drawing your navel into your spine. Keep holding the breath. Exhale into child's pose. Knees will come out. Sink your sit bones back onto the heels. Stretch fingertips forward. And maybe bring your palms to touch over the back of your head. Notice your heartbeat. Notice your breath. Allow yourself to just be present to anything that you feel, any sensations, any movements. Go ahead and walk your hands back. We're going to come all the way up into a comfortable seat. So when I say comfortable seat, I mean really get comfortable in your seat. So if you would like to sit on a bolster or a zafu, one of those little cushions, you can put those underneath your sit bones. I'm going to come into rock pose, which is like sitting on your heels and on your knees. Now this is generally not a very comfortable position for people. So this isn't a position that you can be in for a few minutes. Stay in that cross-legged pose or straddle a bolster as demonstrated in the front row. It looks really great. Your spine is nice and straight. Shoulders are wrapped back. So we're constantly thinking about that like heart-opening action, space that surrounds your always open actual heart. Move your physical body into that position as well, just demonstrating how open you can be in the heart space. So we're going to come into a spinal flex here. It's really just a rock back and forth with breath. And I'm going to turn to the side so you can see and I can be a little exaggerated with it. It's in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And what you maybe can't see is that my belly is still doing that pumping thing, okay? It's not breath of fire, it's not super fast, but it's still using the abdominal muscles, all right? So take a full breath in, open up the chest, exhale. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Third eye gaze. Lock your root lock. You might notice the temperature shift in your body. You might notice some tingling sensation in the nostrils or in the palms or in the shoulders. All of those are perfectly normal things. And you might also notice the desire to pull your eyes out of the third eye gaze. When you notice it, drop back. Inhale, bring that chest forward, send your shoulder blades back, draw your navel up and in, flip your tongue, hold the breath. And exhale. All the way down into a comfortable seat. And switch legs into a cross-legged position if you're on your knees. Just be with what you notice in this moment.
Just let go and let sunlight ease your body, rest your mind. Go within, see what we find. I find myself longing to falling deeper into you, falling deeper into you. I am the grace of God.
All right. So we're going to bring hands up onto shoulders, your thumbs on the back of your shoulders, fingers to the front. If this is not comfortable at all for your hands, some of you already know we can adapt a little bit in our wisdom mudra, bringing your elbows out and kind of like cactus arms. So you get to choose. We're going to inhale deeply to the left and exhale completely to the right. And it's fast. You're like the agitator of a washing machine. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Use your belly, third eye gaze. Keep twisting. Keep that third eye gaze in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Can you feel the fullest expanse of your inhale and the most complete exhale? And just warming the spine, moving it in all the directions. Remembering that we are as young as our spines are supple. Cultivate that suppleness of the spine. In, out, all through the nose. You're more than halfway there. And what we're doing here, yogis, is we're tuning into our intuition. You won't have to worry about what your purpose is or what you're supposed to be doing, because it will just show up. You wouldn't be able to stop it if you tried. Align. in this posture. 15 more seconds. In through the nose, out through the nose. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Inhale to center. Hold the breath. Root lock up and in. Belly button lock up and in. So we're using that perineum pelvic floor strength. Navel to spine. Third eye gaze. Exhale. Slowly release the posture. Roll your shoulders back. Create any space that you need to create. This next part is a shoulder release. We're clearing the channels of energy that align the spine, all of those nadis that are on the sides of your spine, kind of flank it. You'll inhale the shoulders up, exhale, release. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Powerful. Through the navel point. Releasing with intention. Letting it all go. Inhale. Squeeze every single muscle in your body. Squeeze. Flip your tongue. Press it through with your mouth. Navel in, root lock in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. When you think that you can't squeeze anymore, squeeze something else. And release. Just notice. What happens when we tune in to the sensations in our bodies, to sounds, to smells, to tastes? We are instantly anchored to the present moment. The only thing that is happening in all of this practice is really being here in the now. It's probably more difficult to think about planning dinner or doing laundry, or what's going to happen at work tomorrow, when we're concentrating on breath, aligning with movement, aligning with locking the pelvic floor. So we get all of these fancy things in place to bring us into what is happening in the now, and to be completely embodied without trying to love or not love whatever is going on. Just be with it and witness it. So I promise in a few moments we're going to change positions. You might already be hearing some inner chatter of, why are we still sitting in this position? I'm sick of sitting. Especially if you happen to be more of like a vinyasa flow type of yogi and you're used to a lot of movement in class. We'll get there and we'll see what your thoughts are about this new movement when that begins. But first, we're just really going to cultivate that breath of fire intentionally with the belly, with our hands down. So come in to Wisdom Mudra, pointer finger, Jupiter finger, and thumb. your other fingers will stretch out. So you're kind of doing that OK symbol with your hands. Stretch your arms out. Find your third eye gaze. Take a full breath in. And let it all out. Take half a breath in for breath of fire.
Like a calm lake, is still. I feel all nature dwelling by prayer. Like a calm lake, my mind is still. Resting in your arms, resting in your arms, feeling the comfort of you.
Engage that root lock. Pump the navel. Keep going. Sup, nam, 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 sup, nam. Rooting down in that root lock, drawing the energy up through your navel point, witnessing the pumping at the navel as you intentionally start to churn the lower chakra energy up into the heart space, into the throat, into the third eye, into the crown of your head. Watching the energy move, witnessing the internal dialogue of I can't, or I don't want to, or I've had enough, and just witnessing that. You can do almost anything for 3 minutes, and you are 3/4 of the way there. Keep pumping that navel. Inhale, hold the breath, squeeze the root lock, draw the navel up and in, hold, 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 hold. Witness all the sensation in the holding. Hold the bandha locks and exhale. Hold the breath out. Keep the locks up and in. Normal breath.
Washes my pain. Golden light washes my pain. The burden leaves.
We talk a lot about radiance around here. What does radiance feel like in your body? What is a radiant gaze? What is a radiant smile? What are the sensations associated with that?
At last, I'm home again. Like a calm lady, my mind is still.
Right, your views.
Like a calm
Your line all the way down on your back.
I feel all nature.
Okay, so if you know that you have tenderness in your low back, or you tend to have low back sensation, I want you to think about putting your hands, palms face down, underneath your tailbone, kind of creating a nest or a triangle for your tailbone to rest in. Create that cushion. You can also roll up a blanket and put it underneath. It's another option. We're going to come into stretch pose. Stretch pose is a low boat. Your head and your shoulders will be lifted 6 inches off of the floor. And your heels will be lifted 6 inches off of the floor. You'll keep your legs straight. If your arms are not underneath you, they are also straight. Your gaze will be at your big toes. So you're just going to stare at your big toes. And you'll come into breath of fire. Okay? So I'm going to demonstrate the first few moments of the pose. We'll take a full deep breath in through the nose. Exhale it all out. Take a full inhale to lift up into low boat, and then find breath of fire. Beautiful. Keep going. Breath of fire. Now I know if you can do anything for 3 minutes that you can definitely do anything for 30 seconds. 30 seconds of breath of fire. Pump that navel in and out. Point your toes. Engage your legs. Beautiful. Pump. You have 10 more seconds to go, yogis. 10 more seconds. Good. Pump, pump. All those pranic channels, 72,000 of them. Inhale, hold the posture, hold the breath. Draw your navel into your spine. Lock your root lock. Exhale, release all the way down. Well done. Beautifully done. Just be in the sensation. Now curl your body into a ball, bringing your knees into your chest. You can give your knees a hug. And similar in stretch pose, your head, your neck, your shoulders will be lifted into that ball as well. You don't have to get into it quite yet. Okay? Give yourself a moment in this ball position. We're going to inhale all together up into the ball, tucking your chin to your chest. Everyone inhale up, hug those legs, exhale it all out, hold the posture, half a breath in, breath of fire, go. Notice the difference of that breath of fire curled into a ball. Pumping the navel, we're truly sending all of that pranic energy into the third eye, into the crown chakra, stimulating the pituitary gland, creating a reset and an equanimity in the endocrine system. Inhale, hold the posture, hold the breath. Squeeze every single muscle in your body. Squeeze, 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 like into this tiny ball. Even squeeze your face, squeeze your hands. When you think that you can't squeeze anything else, squeeze tighter. Exhale, release. All right, draw your knees into your chest and rock and roll. You're gonna rock your body up and then roll it back onto the spine. So just rocking back and forth, up into a seat and all the way back down. Beautiful. Good. All the way up, all the way down, rocking on the spine. You can be slow. Doesn't have to be a race. And then come up into a comfortable seat. Okay. Last seated pose, and then we're standing up. So, enjoy the seat. for a moment longer. Arms all the way up, shoulders away from your ears. Sometimes this is called ego eradicator. Around here we call it the radiance charger. Thumbs out, curl your fingers in. Beautiful. Take a deep breath in. Exhale it all out. Half a breath in. Breath of fire. Go. It's your third eye gaze point. Keep your chin lifted. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. Stand all the way up. All right, so after all that sitting, aren't you glad we're standing up? Shake it out a little bit, wiggle around in your hips. Doesn't have to be so serious. It's about yoga, seriousness. It's, just kind of boring sometimes. So, it's just not that big deal. We're just moving our energy around, beings of light. Or when I do Kundalini yoga, I just personally believe that I am Captain Marvel. If you don't know what that means, you can Google that also after class. And go see the movie. It's possibly still in theaters. So we're just embodying that radiant but peaceful Dharmic warrior that shifts our own energy and all the energy around us in order to interact with people in a different vibration, in a lighter place. This lightness that we experience. So this we like to call pranic windmills, and we're kind of close together, so I'm going to ask you to turn and face the side wall, just so that we're all facing one direction and nobody is getting, hit by fingers in yoga class. We don't want to slap people in yoga. It's not very ahimsa of us. So, arms come out to the sides, stretch your fingertips out. Your hands are glued together, okay? So your fingertips glued together. Don't lock your knees, that will make you dizzy. Have some buoyancy in your knees. And this is a slower, deeper breath. You'll inhale up. Exhale, right hand to left ankle. Inhale up. Exhale, left hand to right ankle. Inhale up. This is with your breath pace. Inhaling and exhaling. And the breaths are deep and complete. Pranic windmills. All the energy around. You're connecting your energy to the energy of the people next to you, in front of you, behind you, side to side. Using that belly strength, that core strength, all the way around the core of that apple. Beautiful. Almost there, yogis. Chronic windmills. I think that we could power cities off of chronic windmills. Inhale up to center. Stretch it all out. Hold your breath. Lock your bandhas up and in. Flip the tongue. And release. Right. Walk your feet back together. You can face forward. You don't want your feet to be too close together though. Toes will point out, heels are pointing in. Bring your hands interlacing the fingers. And from here, it's an inhale up, exhale down. In, out. In, out. And you don't have to go as deep in the knees as I go. Take your squat to where it's comfortable. Comfortable squats. Inhale up. Now lock your root lock while you do it. All that pelvic floor strength. Remembering that 3 things in my life must be strong at all times. Pelvic floor, coffee, never gonna stop drinking it, and intuition. When those 3 things are strong, the rest of my day is just bonkers amazing. Inhale all the way up. Stretch your arms up overhead. Maybe press your palms over. Exhale it down. All right. Beautiful. Shake it out a little bit. So from here, it's going to be a very fluid movement. So we're not going to stop anywhere. Unless, of course, you want to, and it feels really good in your low back to stop. We're going to inhale up, exhale all the way down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhaling up, exhale. Move with your breath. Let your breath dictate when you come up and when you go down. The inhale, the fullest inhale, guides you all the way up. And the exhale begins, and that's when you start to bow forward. Right. Bring your hands to heart center. Noticing the heartbeat and the breath. Noticing where shift has happened for you. Make your way back down into that comfortable seat. And now I really mean comfortable this one. So if you want to sit up on a bolster, grab a bolster. If you want to stick blocks underneath your knees because they're starting to speak to you, do that, right? We don't get extra yogi points or gold stars by making our bodies hurt. Ideally, at least in my mind, we want to leave yoga class, whatever the yoga class is, feeling better than when we arrived. So having that shift. And by torturing our knees or our hips or our low backs in class just for the sake of sitting in a yogic posture, that isn't going to help us leave feeling better than when we came in. So please take care of all of your little parts, particularly your joints. Okay, so a few things will be different about this particular pose. It's a powerful breath. This time your mouth is going to be open in an O shape. okay? Instead of looking at your third eye, you're gonna gaze at your nose, okay? And it's so funny because it's way harder than we think it's gonna be, and all of a sudden, staring at our third eye with our eyes closed sounds way more appealing and way simpler than staring at the end of our nose. Interlace your fingers again, like you did when we were standing, and press your thumbs into the palms of your hands. So it's a very closed circle. You'll notice that my thumbs are touching the palms of my hand, interlacing here. Great. And you'll keep your arms out into an O. Looking at the end of your nose, I'm going to demonstrate the breath. It's still that pumping of the navel. Okay? So you'll look at the end of your nose, take a normal breath in, let it all out. O-shaped mouth. Going, yogis, lock that root lock. You're almost there, so recommit for the end of the practice. Notice where the naysaying shows up in your mind. Notice where the discomfort is. How uncomfortable is it? Is it really just your ego seeking something that's easier? Inhale, hold the breath. Kundalini sometimes has this sneaky aspect to it. Where? Where you lie down for Shavasana, and we all know that we're not quite done the way that you may be done in a Vinyasa yoga class once you are in Shavasana. And that being said, just be with what is in this moment. Notice the mental chatter. Is it Shavasana? Is it not? Am I done? Do I want more? Find that third eye gaze. Body is ascending up toward the crown chakra. You're moving lower frequencies into higher frequencies through this practice. This is happening both internally as well as externally as as your energy is merged and matched by others who are on the same energetic journey as you. What is perhaps the most incredible about this shift in activation is that your Kundalini energy will move up and down your spine, transmuting within you. And now you just have to allow this to happen and acknowledge when it is uncomfortable and what your reactions are to that.
I am the light of my soul. I am beautiful. I am bountiful. I am bliss. I am. I am the light of my soul. I am beautiful. I am bountiful.
Rock side to side a little bit.
I am the light of my soul. I am beautiful.
Rub your hands together.
Bountiful.
Maybe rub your feet together. Come all the way up. For our meditation portion, final thing that we'll do together before a long time sun. It's just a very simple motion of this. This is what you'll be doing, and it's pretty rapid. So just be aware of who's next to you, maybe stagger yourself a little bit. And the breath will come naturally. Don't try to worry about what the breath is doing. Be worried about the breath enough tonight. It's like you're sweeping the energy into your heart space. You're not bending the elbow, the wrist though. There's no you're not being seaweed about it, okay? Keep the wrist straight. Flowing all the energy into the heart, the energy of prosperity, of wealth, of intuitive opportunity, of allowing things to just come. See how this motion is about allowing, inviting in all that is for you, designed perfectly, exactly what you are seeking. Calling it into the chest. Close your eyes, third eye gaze. something else is lifting your arms. Feel them weightless. Imagine that. And bring them to your heart center. And just notice. So what's a beautiful ending to Kundalini practice is the song Long Time Sun. Sometimes I end with Om Namo, because I love that song so much. And it is pretty lengthy, so we're going to keep it short, keep it a little bit more English for people who are still learning. And you're invited to sing along out loud. Chanting, sound, vibration is so healing. And I invite you to do that. I'm going to turn the music up so that you don't have to worry about being self-conscious or being heard by others. And really just be in the space of the music and find that meditative presence. Hands at heart center, eyes closed.
May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light
so much for giving me the gift of being your guide in this Kundalini workshop this evening. I honor the place inside you that is the same inside of me. I honor the place where the whole universe resides, the place of light and love and peace and truth. We are one. Satnam. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Even if you think of them later, I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook. You could send me a message. If you have any questions about the experience, things coming up, any of that. Starting next week, we have the next 4-week series of our Kundalini Reset Summer Program. And it'll be all about digestion and, kind of cleansing and resetting the body in a very physiological way. So if you're on board for that, you can reach out. The information is on the website. If you know you're a yes, Christopher could probably help you figure that out right now if you wanted to. But thank you guys so much. What a beautiful evening. I'm so grateful to be here with you all.
Thank you so much. Jeannie, I have a question.
Yeah.
When I do all this reading, I get lightheaded.
Yep.
Is this to be expected?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought I was doing something wrong.
Oh, no. You're doing something quite right. Yeah, I mean that's where the standing poses can get a little tricky, so just be mindful if you get really, really lightheaded to sit down. But I still get lightheaded depending on the day, depending on where I am in the middle of the month and all that good stuff. So, yeah, totally normal. Great question. How are you feeling?
I can't believe how much I like this.
That's what we love to hear.
There were a couple times I just wanted to laugh.
And you could. Totally
Like
laugh.
last time.
Laughter happens.